All right, so it is 2 p.m. Central Time, and with that, we're going to get started. So welcome to this webinar called The Future, Emerging Technologies and Industry Trends. If you haven't joined us before with one of these webinars, just know that these are a quick 30-minute webinar to introduce a topic that we can dive into a little bit further. So ponder this. What skills will be most valuable in the future workforce? So as we think about the workforce moving forward, what skills are going to be most valuable? Now you should see a screen that's a poll that's in just a moment is going to pop up on the center of your screen. In that, you can type your response to which skills you think are going to be most valuable in the future workforce. So that screen should have popped up on your screen right now. You can enter your response and click on submit. And then we should see in live time different responses come in. So we have critical thinking that's been coming in, data analysis, people, technology. We'll give people about another 20 seconds to get their skills in there. Soft skills, new technology are going to be some of the most valuable skills for the future workforce. Adaptability, creative thinking. Absolutely. So as a group, these are some skills that we're looking at for future success in the workforce. As we close that poll, we're going to move on to the next one. So that gets us going, gets us thinking about what we're going to be discussing today. Next, welcome. My name is Mandy Green, Manager of Professional Services here at GW. We have 3 objectives today. We're just going to look at a few emerging technologies. We're going to think about how we can create a supportive learning environment for those technologies, and then hopefully give you a stepping off point to develop a long-term vision for integrating those technologies in your classroom. Now, as we go throughout the training, the webinar today, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll get to that. Also, make sure that you have your handy dandy mobile device ready so that you can scan a QR code in just a moment so that we can be active participants in this webinar. Like I said, this webinar is highly interactive and depends on participant interaction to be successful. So grab your smartphone, pull your seatbelts tight, and let's hang on for the next 25 minutes. All right. So first, let's start with some of these emerging technologies. First, what is virtual reality? Right? So they define virtual reality or VR as a computer-generated 3D environment that immerses users, creating a sense of presence and interaction. When we think about VR, we can think about head-mounted displays, motion tracking systems, even handheld controllers. We've seen an emergence of VR in the healthcare industry, manufacturing, education, and even entertainment. Next, let's dive a little bit deeper into VR when we think about it as training component. How can we use training in this career and technical education space? How can we use VR for training? Maybe surgical simulations. You can practice those complex procedures in a safe environment, work on improving surgical skills, hopefully reduce errors. Maybe when we think about our pilots and flying aircraft, the flight training, we can think about creating realistic flight conditions, once again, enhancing pilot skills and safety. Even things about emergency response training. So to simulate real world emergencies to help improve quick decision-making and response times. And even if we think about it maybe a little bit outside of the CTE traditional content areas, learning a language, we can create an immersive language environment that can enhance language acquisition and hopefully fluency. Okay, so that was a quick overview of VR. Now let's move to AR, or augmented reality. AR can be defined as an overlay of digital information into the real world, enhancing the user's perception. We can think about this where it blends the real world and the virtual worlds together. It usually requires some type of device, a smartphone, a tablet. It is interactive and adaptable. Now, when we think about AR, comparing it to VR, virtual reality creates a fully immersive experience, while AR augments just the real world. Virtual reality also isolates the users from physical environment, while AR, augmented reality, allows for that interaction in the real world. So hopefully that helps you differentiate AR and VR. Now, if we continue to think about using augmented reality for hands-on experiences, we can think about having our students engage in more active and engaging ways. We can help provide opportunities for experimentation, exploration. And when we think about using AR for real-world applications, there is augmented reality in some textbooks, lab simulations, historical reconstructions, and even learning languages. Some benefits of AR: improved understanding, increased retention, and enhanced problem-solving skills. All right, let's look at the one that we're all talking about nowadays, AI, or artificial intelligence. AI can be defined as the ability of machines to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. Some capabilities of AR could be data analysis, pattern recognition, problem solving, and even decision making. How can we use AR in education? Well, some current uses of AR in education include intelligent tutoring systems, personalized learning in the personalized learning paths, adaptive technologies and assessments, and even automated grading. Have you used automated grading before? Have you used the Easy Grader in Canvas? If you have, share this in the chat, how you've used AI for automated grading. Now, to go a little deeper, we can think about AI for that personalized learning experience, right? We're going to tailor learning experiences to improve student engagement, to really increase those learning outcomes. It's going to be an efficient use of all of our resources. And that all sounds great, and it is, but sometimes we might encounter challenges. The three most common challenges associated with AI so far have been data privacy and security, bias in the AI algorithm, which goes along with some of the ethical considerations, and then also a lack of human interaction. Okay, so there's a brief introduction to all things AI, AR, and VR. It's a lot of letters. I'm going to check the chat real fast. We're also seeing some come in using AI for time management. Exactly. So let's dive a little deeper and think about this in terms of, so now that we have kind of a shared understanding of AR, VR, and AI, what does this look like from an educational perspective? And I know everyone on this call is an expert educator and has lots of really valuable experiences to share with others. The best part of professional development, like this PD webinar, is the ability to learn with and from each other. So let's take a moment to learn with and from each other. So on the next slide, you're going to see a QR code. This is where you're going to grab your handy dandy smart device. Oops, I went a little too fast. Sorry about that. Scan the QR code with your smart device. I'll put the link in the chat momentarily. When you get there, there's going to be 2 questions in 2 separate columns. That is where you are going to share your experiences and your ideas with all of us. So I'll give you just a moment. And as you're getting to the Padlet, the link is in the chat. You can use your smart device, the camera app, to scan the QR code. Remember that Padlet, I am using the free version. It is an ed tech tool, but as always, check with your IT department to make sure that you can use it with students on your organization's network. So with that, we're going to jump over to the Padlet. Here we go. And this is your opportunity to share with us, how are these technologies, specifically AR, VR, and AI, shaping the future of work and industry? The second question is, what skills and competencies are employers seeking in today's job market? So let's take our knowledge and experience of AR, VR, and AI and start to think about the actual application of this, from how it's shaping the workforce and how it's demanding some skills. So as you can see with Padlet at the top, you can see that there are people actively typing in the Padlet. To enter your response, you can click on the plus sign to add your post, type in there, and then you will hit publish when you are done, and it will post under the column that you are responding to. So now that we have some responses coming in, let's see what we're thinking. So how are these technologies shaping the future of work and shaping the future of our business industries, right? They're built into training development. All three will free up instructors to focus more on the student and help guide them. Yes. Training will be more accessible and it's less costly. Absolutely, hopefully so. Taking over some of those menial tasks and activities. Exactly. There is a AI website called Magic School AI, and it will do things for lesson planning, rubrics for easy grading, lesson plan development. So it's taking over some of those rote tasks that we do as educators to hopefully allow us to invest more time in creating interactive learning experiences, helping our students become more competent, right? We're also looking at so for architecture, looking at using 3D printing of homes. Also thinking about training available, more flexibility for company training. Yes. So that leads me to the next question. What skills and competencies are our employers then looking for in today's job market? So as we're moving forward with these emerging technology trends, what skills and competencies do we need in place to be successful with the emerging trends? So some of the skills, like using this computer and learning online, absolutely. There's been a huge shift, especially since 2020 with COVID, to moving at learning online. Adaptability, excellent. If you see an answer on the Padlet that you agree with, or that you were going to type in the blank, for example, adaptability is a word I think of, I could always hit the heart button, and then it will let me know. So another thing that we are using, this is all anonymous. So as you can see, my person was an active Python. So we are using anonymity today, so we don't know who's typing which answer. Also, back to skills, communication, we're seeing the ability to be a self-learner using all the technology options available. Exactly, so I hope that you're seeing some trends. So I'm seeing some words, so like how these technologies are shaping the future. We see a lot of training, the changes in training. And for some of the skills, communication seems to be a huge one, adaptability, the ability to be a self-learner. Those are some trends that are coming out of your responses today. All right, so let me jump back over to the slide deck. All right, so here's your chance to type in to the chat box. So the last two webinars, if you attended them, have dealt with the ISTE standards for students and have dealt with the ISTE standards for educators. And we've also looked at aligning our work together. So those ISTE standards are things like digital citizen, knowledge constructor, computational thinker, creative communicator, global collaborator. So thinking along the lines of those ISTE standards from the past two webinars, how can we as educators create a learning environment that focuses and fosters experimentation, problem solving, and critical thinking? So in the chat box where you entered where you're joining from today, share with us your response about how we can, as educators, take that knowledge of AR, VR, AI, of the trends that we see in the workforce, of the skills that we know our students need to have. How can we create learning environments? When I think about this, I think about definitely being creative communicators, but also has the opportunity to allow students to have choice in how they communicate? Do they use tools like Canva or maybe a Google Slide to share information that they're learning with others? So as educators, can we provide more opportunity for choice and voice to help prepare them for the future with AR, VR, and AI? It also reminds me of a conversation I had recently where I was talking with a coworker about AI in the classroom, and they were concerned about plagiarism. And so then we were talking about like, how does the plagiarism fall into the AI category in writing term papers? So I can't wait to read your response in the chat box about how we as educators can create a learning environment that fosters experimentation, problem solving, and critical thinking. So I'll give you just a moment to type your response into the chat box, remembering that we are learning with and from each other here. And of course, there's never a wrong answer in professional development. So let's see what we have coming into the chat box about ways that we can create these environments that foster critical thinking, problem solving from the lens of AI, AR, VR, and even incorporating some of those ISTE standards we've talked about the last 2 webinars. All right, I'll give you just a moment to get that response typed into the chat box, remembering that this webinar relies on participants to participate so that we can have an interactive session. Yeah, thanks, Anita, for jumping in there. To use AI as a research assistant to explore a variety of creative solutions. Absolutely. I think as educators, we can definitely do that. AI is a research assistant. Sometimes even getting together webinars, I just punch some stuff into AI to help brainstorm with me. Absolutely. What other ways can we leverage AI, AR, VR to foster problem solving, critical thinking, to help our students be knowledge constructors? Yeah, Sean thinks we keep them engaged with VR while teaching them to be safe. Absolutely. So some of that virtual reality. VR welding stations, absolutely, Guy. Yeah, I actually saw one of those. I was at Lincoln Tech a few years ago, and I saw some of the welding stations. It was really cool. VR labs in the technical fields, Brian, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Joseph, to foster those kinds of behaviors when using AI, we have to be careful not to let it do all the work for the students. It's a great tool, but it doesn't replace critical thinking. Absolutely. Let's see. We're coming in fast now. Y'all are great. To show real world scenarios of things learned in the classroom. Absolutely. Like learning how to use a ruler. Lost art, right? Definitely. Robots are taking over construction projects without using many people. They do need breaks. Yes, when students use AI to review a journal article, they tend to submit whatever it generates without looking at the exact data in the article. Yes, that's a great point. Mohammed, I actually had that conversation. I was part of that plagiarism conversation I had with a coworker, right? So how do you teach students to use AI, but then also add their own voice? Exactly. Jeff, open-ended project that forces students to ask questions. Yep, could use AI for those questions before the instructor. Absolutely. These are all great ways that you can use AR, VR, and AI. Let's go to the next question. Thinking about this, what role will these technologies play in creating an engaging and collaborative learning experience for all of our learners? So I feel like we started to see some of that in your responses. Let's go a little bit deeper for a couple of minutes. So what role do you see these technologies playing as to create these engaging, collaborative learning experiences? So I thought we saw some of those with those VR labs, with the welding, the technical fields. Absolutely. How else do we see this? Yeah, Jessica provides an opportunity locally that maybe wouldn't be available otherwise. Very true. Very true. How else can we use them in more of a collaborative manner to create these engaging learning experiences for our students? What do you think? I'll give you just a moment to type and then we'll review some of the responses we get. Yeah, Jeff provides more learning vehicles for different learning styles. Absolutely. Yeah, we know students all have different learning preferences. This just provides one more avenue. And even thinking about not just the traditional learning style preferences, but even thinking about like, do we like to learn by ourselves? Do we like to learn in a group? Do we like to learn interacting in different ways? Absolutely. This can provide some of those different vehicles to get there. Very true. What else? I'll give you about 30 more seconds. Any other responses coming in? How can we create an engaging and collaborative learning experience? I also like what Jessica had to say about how it provides opportunities they might not have. I worked in a district where my students were born in the district, lived in the district, never left the district. So it was nice to be able to bring things into the classroom because they wouldn't otherwise be able to experience that. That also not AR, VR, but that Skype in the classroom concept of having virtual field trips was another way that we could bring the world to our class to create a more engaging learning experience. Students could then collaborate with classes across the world. So just some different opportunities. Absolutely. All right, I'm not seeing any more coming in, so I'm going to keep going for the sake of time. All right, one last chat box activity. What are your feelings about integrating AR, VR, AI, and other technologies into your learning environment or class? In the chat box, there should be an A with a pencil through it, and then a smiley face that looks like the emojis. You'll click on that smiley face to access your emojis. So in an emoji form, no words here, just an emoji. How are you feeling about integrating AR, VR, and AI? Are you just happy about it? Are you a little concerned about it? Are you loving it, which would be me? Or do you need to do a little bit more investigating? Let's see where you're at about integrating these emerging technologies. All right, I'm seeing a lot of loving it. I see like the hands, the smiles, some more investigation, absolutely. Anita, I feel you. Yes. I love it. So hopefully today just will help open up that conversation, open up some thoughts and ideas about integrating some of these emerging technologies. We can also layer this on top of the ISTE student standards and educator standards that we've talked about the last 2 webinars in this 3 webinar series as we move forward. All right. So today wraps up a 3-part series about technology and integrating technology. So we started out looking at learning objectives and assessments. We looked at some different tools for different types of lessons. And then today we looked at the future. So first of all, thank you for being part of our 3-part series. The next series that we're going to start deals with differentiation. So we're going to look at 3 ways that we can differentiate for student agency, the struggling student, and then the advanced student. So that series kicks off on September 24th. You can scan the QR code to register for that event. The link is also in the chat for you, and we hope that you will join us for that. Next, we always provide a certificate, and we realized that we were having some difficulties with Microsoft Webinar getting a certificate to you. So you can scan the QR code to access a Google Drive folder that has a certificate. All you have to do is open up, type in your name, and you have a certificate for today. I also linked the certificate drive in the chat, so you can go either place. Next, we put all of these webinars in our on-demand YouTube playlist so that you can access them whenever, because we realized the recording was having a hard time getting to all participants and was being blocked or not always published. And we want to make sure that you can access these webinars at any time. So to do so, we created a YouTube playlist. You can scan the QR code, or you can click on the link in the chat. Now, when you're there, don't forget to also hit the subscribe button on YouTube so that you'll receive notifications every time we add a new video to this list. And so these videos are added on a weekly basis. So this webinar will be added by Friday to our YouTube playlist. And our team at GW is so fabulous, it's usually added the next day for you to review or share with others. And I have one more bit of housekeeping before we take questions. At GW, we're always seeking to improve our webinars and to meet the needs of our participants and attendees. And to do so, we would love for you to fill out this evaluation form. It helps us make things better for you. And so please share with us how the webinars are going for you. If you love activities or want a certain topic, please share that with us in these webinar evaluations as well, so that we can make sure we are creating events that are relative for you. Then in the chat section, I should say there's up there where chat is, there should be an icon that says file. I have added a file to this webinar for you that has all of these links on it, as well as the next 6 webinars we have planned for the rest of the 2024 calendar year. We hope to see you at those 6 webinar events. And just as a reminder, it's in a Microsoft Doc format. So you might have to click Control on your keyboard and then click your mouse on the hyperlink to have it open up. So with that, I am going to say thank you so much for joining us today. I think we have like 2 minutes left. I'm going to stay on, so if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat. We would love to answer your questions. If not, we hope you have a great afternoon, and we'll see you on September 24th at 2 p.m. Central for differentiation with student agency. Have a good one, y'all.